Fans of the Horus Heresy and Warhammer 40,000, thank you very much for joining me for an 8th edition Newsflash. And today's day is the 26th of May. Now, I can already hear the storm of questions going something like this. Leakycheese, where's the graphics gone? What's all this datasheet nonsense? Well, unfortunately, when I was driving home today, somebody T-boned my car, which, you know, somebody T-boned my metal box, which was very disagreeable, to put it mildly. So yeah, that's 3 hours of my life I'm not getting back, sorting that mess out. Anyway, the main thing is, I'm okay, they were okay, no one was hurt, cars can be fixed. So yes, because of that, it's all been a bit messed up. However, there's been another plethora of posts over at the Warhammer community website today. We've had faction focus on the orcs, we've had missions, and then we've also had probably a bit of a faction focus, or a second part of faction focus, looking at Primaris Space Marines. And it's a Primaris Space Marines I want to talk about, because for the upheaval, all I'm going to talk to you about in this update is the Primaris stats. And what we've been given is the abilities and statistics for the captain in Gravis armor, and then also the Inceptor squad. And this is really interesting stuff, and I'm quite excited about the Inceptor squad for reasons that will become apparent soon. So that is why we have this and no graphics. I'll leave a link to this article, and I'd just like to remind you, one of my earlier videos, if you've got any ideas or suggestions about what we should call the new Primaris Space Marines, be they serious or tongue-in-cheek, don't forget to keep leaving those. I will compile all these and I'll do a video on it shortly, probably just on the eve or maybe just after the release of the 8th edition box set, for a little bit of fun as well. So don't forget to keep those names coming if you have them. Right, let's get on to the topic in hand. Captain in Gravis armor. So this is a Primaris Space Marine captain in Gravis armor. We've got his datasheet, we've got his, I think this is a HQ designate. Oops, I think we've got this, which means his HQ, and we've got his power level of 7. And we've got his profile. Now, this is really rather interesting. Let's go through the stats. So first thing, movement is 5. So this dude is a bit slower than average. Movement 5 is the same as a Terminator. So his armor is clearly heavy armor, and it's slower than normal. This guy is a very skillful combatant, having weapon skill and ballistic skill to hit of 2. 2+. He's strength 4, which is a standard marine profile. However, he goes up to toughness 5, which is tougher than the intercessor squads we'd seen earlier. So the question then is this because of some gear he's got, or is it because of his hero stats? So we don't know for sure from this. However, when we move on to the Inceptor squad, I'm going to suggest that this toughness bonus is linked to this Mark 10 Gravis armor. Right, next stat, and by goodness me, 6 wounds? This guy's got nearly as many wounds as a Dreadnought. To refresh our minds, a Castroferrum Dreadnought, the standard Boxnaught, has only 8 wounds, whereas this dude's got 6. So this fella is an absolute beast of a warrior. He's going to take some killing. He has 5 attacks, again, a absolutely beastly stat. In the current world, that would be equivalent to the very most powerful Space Marine characters, or even some of the Primarchs. I mean, Rubute Guilliman in the 30k has 5 attacks base, and Guilliman in 7th edition for 40k has 6 attacks. So this guy is a powerful combat guy. Leadership score is 9, which is about typical for a Space Marine, and saving throw is 3+. So despite the fact he's in this heavier armour, I think what the Gravis armour means is he loses a point of movement but gains a point of toughness. And he stays at a standard Space Marine saving throw 3+. And his war gear is, he has a mastercrafted power sword and a bolt storm gauntlet. So let's have a look at those guns. This is kind of like a weapons loadout that is a mini Guilliman, I think of it as being. His bolt storm gauntlet is a pistol with a range of 12. He gets 3 shots, strength 4, no AP and damage 1. So that's going to be useful at point blank range. Short range but powerful when in range. And then he's got a choice of weapons for melee. And he's got his bolt storm gauntlet, which is basically the power fist. Again, we've got the -1 to hit here, so that'll hit on a 3+. This is high strength, high AP, and potentially high damage. And then he also has a mastercrafted power sword, which is strength as user, so it doesn't hit anywhere near as hard as this. However, has the same AP, and its damage is consistent at 2. So there's your weapon for fighting enemy infantry. Here's your weapon for fighting, I don't know, enemy monsters, tanks, and maybe heroes, really tough enemy heroes. What else has he got? So he's got the "and they shall know no fear" tactic, which we don't know what that means in 8th yet. He has an Iron Halo with a 4+ invulnerable save, exactly as we know it in 7th. He also has the Rights of Battle ability. You can re-roll hits of 1 made for friendly, insert chapter name. So let's imagine it's the Ultramarines, because, well, sorry about that, but you know, we'll pick another chapter for the next example. Made for Ultramarines within 6 inches of this model. So this is one of those sort of range buffs that I think we've already seen some of them. We're going to see more and more of in 8th. So if you've got a gun line of, I don't know, maybe Intercessor Marines, and this guy's hanging around with them, he's going to enhance their accuracy of their bolt rifles and other weapons somewhat. You know, stick him next to a phased plasma rifle in the 40k range, and that's going to be pretty potent as well, I'd say. And then he's got some keywords as well. Imperium Adeptus Astartes, Character Infantry, Marks 10 Gravis, Primaris and Captain. These are your faction-specific stuff, and these are the rule-specific characteristics. There we have a first look of what a Primaris Space Marine, I guess, major hero, or, you know, high-level hero, or fairly high-level hero looks like. He's heavily armoured, he's very tough. His combat stats are off the scale for anything we've seen previously, I would say. Particularly, you know, particularly his wound stat 6 is just amazing. And while his saving throw doesn't look that good, the fact he's got this Iron Halo means he's going to be a tough cookie, and the extra point of toughness as well. Quite a beast. And can you imagine sticking him in support of some Terminators? That sounds like it would be quite a potent mix. Now, aside from the obvious power of this guy, this makes me begin to wonder about another meta shift that's going to go on in 8th. That is towards giving the players the option to fight 40k with smaller number of miniatures with higher level of stats. And, you know, the Primaris seem to be what you might call the textbook example of this. And it seems to me that this is a deliberate part of a design here to allow players to play a 40k at a smaller skirmish level, as opposed to more of the medium to large scale battle that it had evolved into over the course of, well, the many editions, and particularly in 6th and 7th. So, you know, and I've said this again, and it still holds true now, you've got a return to the principles of 1st edition Rogue Trader, which its original form was probably designed for games of up to around 30 guys, or gals, or its on either side. So Space Marine Captain in Gravis armour, absolute beast of a warrior. Right, now we're going to move on to the Inceptor squad, and these guys are very exciting. Well, for me, I'm easily excited. Okay, so I've just swapped over now to a printout of the Inceptor squad data sheet. So, what do we know? We've got this thing here, which I don't know, I guess that's fast attack, unit type, and then they've got a power rating of 8. So only a point more expensive than the formidable Captain in Gravis armour. Right, let's have a look at their stats. So first up, movement value of 10. These guys are fast, although I think they still count. These guys would count as heavy jump infantry, because I think we would see a movement of 12 on a normal Space Marine with the jump pack. Weapon skill, ballistic skill is a 3+ at standard. Strength 4, standard Space Marine fare. However, toughness 5. So Space Marines are pretty standard toughness 4. There are only a very small handful of very special characters that get toughness 5. So I again postulate that toughness 5 is linked to the Mark 10 Gravis armour. That is what gives them that increased toughness, because their armour save of 3+ is a standard power armour saving throw. These guys are tough as well. They get 2 wounds, which is normal for Primaris, 2 attacks again, and then leadership 7. Looking at their sergeant, same stat line with the exception of the attack stat goes up by a point to 3, and his leadership is 8. And the unit contains 2 Inceptors and 1 Inceptor sergeant. Each model is equipped with 2 assault bolters. So thinking about the pictures, these were kind of like what I said might be snub-nosed bolters or some form of bolt pistol. Well, the idea of a snub-nosed bolter is correct. However, it turns out that the assault bolter is actually a snub-nosed heavy bolter more than anything. I mean, yes, and here we've got the weapon profile for the assault bolter. Range 18, so not bad, particularly coupled with this very high move stat. assault 3, strength is 5, AP is -1, and damage is 1. So these things are absolutely beastly. And you've got 6 of these in a standard squad. So you have got 18 shots out of these 3 dudes. These guys are absolutely packing when it comes to short range firepower. You know, and you know, gosh, these are going to absolutely chew up enemy infantry and light armoured units, it seems to me. Get a few abilities as well. So, and they shall know no fear, page 10. So I'm guessing that's referring probably to their index. Get the crushing charge ability. Roll a d6 each time an Inceptor finishes a charge move within 1 inch of an enemy unit. On a 6, that unit suffers a mortal wound, so no save allowed. That means for these guys, you'll roll 3d6. Let's say you got your placements, all you guys within 1 inch of the enemy. 3d6, any 6s inflict a mortal wound. That is sticking with the theme of getting rid of unique special rules, and this is a new interpretation of Hammer of Wrath. It's now called Crushing Charge. And then their third special rule is Meteoric Descent. During deployment, you can set up this unit in high orbit. Instead of placing it on the battlefield at the end of any of your movement phases, this unit can use a meteoric descent. Set it up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away from enemy models. So you can charge on the turn you do a meteoric descent, and from that, it seems like you don't have any reserve roll to make. It sounds to me. So it says you can set it up in any of your phases. It doesn't say you have to make a test. Very interesting. Very interesting. Now we've got a few faction keywords, as you'd expect. Imperium, Adeptus Astartes, Chapter. Well, this time, I don't know, let's say it's the Iron Hands. Infantry jump packs. So there's going to be some specific rules on the jump packs. Mark X Gravis, or Mark 10 Gravis armor. Primaris fly. Interesting. So they've got a fly rule and jump pack. I wonder what each means. And then they also have Inceptor squad. So very intriguing and very interested to understand what the totality of these rules mean. Now, what do I think of this squad overall? I think these look absolutely awesome. And finally, after many, many, many years of 40k, this to me is a unit that actually seems a little bit like one of the inspirations for the original Warhammer 40,000. And if you've watched my What Made 40k second episode, I talk about the novel Starship Troopers by Robert A. Heinlein, and for me these guys are a bit like the mobile infantry. Fast moving, hard hitting firepower, very tough troops in armour, and orbital strikes as well. Yeah, excellent. So Inceptor squad equals mobile infantry. I think they although I said I wasn't that sure on the look of their bounce boots, I think stats wise they look great, and apart from the bounce boots I like them. So I'm feeling a squad of these coming on. I can feel doing a little bit of these guys in general. I guess another thing about this unit, it really is this is a very capable and versatile unit. Fast moving, high toughness, good skills, multiple wounds, good armor, and then very high volume of fire as well. You know, you can just see these guys jumping all over the battlefield, and maybe their main purpose isn't to actually work like traditional assault marines, which tend to be armed primarily with assault or melee weapons. These guys seem to be more armed for flanking and interdiction. Fascinating. So that is what I wanted to talk to you about tonight. 2 very interesting windows into what the Primaris Space Marine is going to be like on the table in 8th edition. So what do you think about these guys? Do you think the captain is as overpowered as heck? Do you think the Inceptor squad could be mobile infantry? Please let me know in the comments. So I think that's all for today. Despite my car getting taken out this evening, I've still got transport tomorrow, so I will be at Warhammer Fest, so very exciting. I will be gathering information, intelligence, and as many pictures as I can, and I'm sure I will get you guys a video out once I return. Something to look forward to there. Thank you very much for watching. I'll speak to you next time, and goodbye.